In 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 12, we read, "The established in the present truth." Inspired by this text, James White used the expression present truth as the title for the periodical he was about to launch in 1849. In English, it would be called The Present Truth. James White understood that God has, for each era, a present truth or a truth that is current for that time. This premise is easily seen throughout the biblical text and also in Christian history. Let's take a look. The message for the days of Noah was to build the ark and go inside it. As for Abraham, God asked him to leave Ur and go live in Canaan. Moses, on the other hand, was to lead the Exodus, leave Egypt, and return to Canaan. In the days of Nehemiah, the present message for the people of Israel was surrender to Babylon. And in the days of Ezra and Nehemiah, the command was to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the city. For each era, a different and current truth. Moving forward in time, the present truth for Christians in the first century was Jesus is the Messiah. During the Protestant Reformation, the truth for that era was salvation by faith in the merits of Christ. John Wesley, in the 18th century, emphasized the sanctification of the believer. And then we arrive at 1844. What was the present truth? What was the message for that time? James White was riding the wave of the Millwright movement. They had dissected the prophecies of Daniel regarding the cleansing of the sanctuary. They imagined that Christ would return to earth in 1844, but ended up disappointed. However, the disappointment served as motivation for even more study. From then on, they understood that there was a sanctuary in heaven and that Christ had entered the second compartment of that sanctuary. And what was in that second compartment? The Ark of the Covenant containing the 10 Commandments. Wait, the 10 Commandments in heaven? Yes. That certainly made a strong impression on the early Adventists. No wonder the first edition of the Present Truth was dedicated to the truth of the Sabbath as the day of rest. Obviously, the Sabbath was part of the present truth for that time, just as the Lutherans restored justification by faith and the Anabaptists reclaimed baptism by immersion. And if the Methodist movement emphasized sanctification, now the Adventist movement was restoring the truth of the Sabbath in connection with the heavenly sanctuary. Quickly, this set of essential truths for our time began to expand. Our pioneers understood that light is progressive. And the other editions of the Present Truth, as well as other Adventist periodicals, show how the great milestones formed the concept of present truth. Referring to these milestones of Adventist truth, Ellen White states, "The passing of time in 1844 was a period of great events, revealing to our astonished eyes the purification of the sanctuary taking place in heaven, and having a clear connection with God's people on earth and with the messages of the first, second, and third angels, raising the banner inscribed with the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus." One of the milestones of this message was the temple of God, seen in heaven by His people who love the truth, and the ark that contains the law of God. The light of the Sabbath of the fourth commandment cast its strong rays on the path of those who transgress God's law. The non-immortality of the wicked is an old landmark. I can't recall anything else that could be placed in the category of the old landmarks. This statement was written in 1889. when Adventist theology was already well established. It reveals the content of present truth, the truth for today's time. You might be wondering, what about the topic of justification or the health message? Don't they fit into the concept of present truth? The answer is yes, they do. We need to remember that present truth is a dynamic and progressive concept. It encompasses the truths derived from the great and ancient landmarks. The subject of justification is addressed within the three angels' message. It appears under the name of the everlasting gospel. Ellen White wrote, "See him as the one who can forgive all our transgressions. And by contemplating him, we are transformed into his likeness." This is present truth. Selected Messages, Volume 3, page 183. In other words, it's not a popular gospel or a modified gospel. We present the everlasting gospel, where faith and works, where the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus work together. Regarding healthy living, Ellen White noted, quote, "Health reform is a great enterprise closely connected to present truth." Testimonies, Volume 1, page 553. Does the need for health reform come from the understanding of the investigative judgment? Well, if Jesus is purifying the sanctuary, I should also purify my body. A pure body contributes to a pure mind. I need to obey the natural laws of health because I will also be judged by these laws. Therefore, we have seen that for every era, God has a specific truth. And the truth for our time includes, first, the 2,300 evenings and mornings and the beginning of the judgment. Second, the three angels' messages. Third, the ministry of Christ in the heavenly sanctuary. Fourth, the Sabbath. And fifth, the state of the dead. This is the basic package, but it also includes topics derived from the main landmarks. Now, I want to tell you that the mission of Adventists, my mission, your mission, is to preach to the whole world. But preach what? Preach the present truth. Look at this statement. In a special sense, Seventh-day Adventists have been set in the world as watchmen and bearers of light. They have been entrusted with the last warning message to a perishing world. Upon them has shone the wonderful light of the Word of God. They have been given a work of the most solemn importance, the proclamation of the first, second, and third angels' messages. There is no work of greater importance. They must not allow anything else to absorb their attention. Testimonies, Volume 9, page 19. Did you realize your responsibility? The last warning message is in your hands. There is no work of greater importance. Think about that. Let nothing else in this world absorb your attention. But let you, your time, and your talents be absorbed in preaching the present truth.